Dyspraxia is not the same as developmental dyspraxia, developmental motor coordination disorder, developmental coordination disorder, oh, not motor, or dysgraphia. So which one is not dyspraxia? There's like so many different names for the same thing. Yes. And the reason why, again, because remember how I said earlier, if you want a diagnosis, there isn't like one body. Essentially, scientists couldn't agree. No one could agree. So there's lots of different ones. Developmental dyspraxia is something that you're born with and that your body develops, so it kind of grows with you, and thus you can't outgrow it, but the symptoms can kind of get lessened. Developmental motor coordination disorder is more of a focus on kind of reactions, and so like let's say riding, sports, speech. Same with coordination, but coordination is more physical, where motor, it can be like speaking. And the last one, dysgraphia, is kind of like how you grip a pen, like it could be messy handwriting. Oh, very competitive. But Jody, you're on a streak. I think you've got 5 in a row so far. Nice. 10 or 21. Will Poulter is a known dyspraxic actor. What Netflix show did he appear in? So if you're lucky, a picture will appear if you have no idea who he is. But it could either be Stranger Things, Black Mirror, Titans, or The Haunting on Hill House. So this fella. Nice. Yeah, he was in Black Mirror. I don't know if you guys did it. It was that interactive episode where you kind of like choose your own ending. It sounds cool, but I was stuck on the same ending every single time. So yeah, but he's a really good one. And he's one of the like lesser known, like he's not like a household name, but he's still a good example of how anyone can overcome the barriers and actually use it to their advantage. I think he did a film called Maze Runner, which was very active. So again, you can be in very active roles. Jody, wow, really, risen up those ranks there. 11 or 21. Emma Lewis Buck is a British politician who publicly stated that they have dyspraxia. What party does she represent? Are we on about Labour, Conservatives, Lib Dems, or the Green Party? Nice. I don't know if you guys all knew that or you just looked at the colour of her top. That's normally the way I always judge, like what colour is their tie? And if they change their tie colour, throws me right off. Yeah, and that is great. The more senior people we have who publicly talk about it, it shows that we've got actors who are dyspraxic, which is great. We have singers who are dyspraxic, and these are all kind of contradicting a lot of the misconceptions about what people can and cannot do with dyspraxia. And when you think of politicians, you have to be quite fast. You have to process information really quick. So you would think it wouldn't go hand in hand. I haven't read anything from her perspective, but I'd be very interested to know how she does debates. Because it's not about not being able to do it, it's about finding a different way of doing it. And she's obviously found different techniques in order to overcome that. Bonus points if you know what area she looks after. I'm going to say it's in the north somewhere. Wow, Jody, 7 in a row. Okay, 12. You can grow out of dyspraxia. True or false? False. Very well. So it is a lifelong condition, but why we always talk about children is that's when it becomes most common and also most prevalent. So when you have the most challenges in life, it's not that it goes away as an adult, it's just that we start to understand our mind and learn better. So yeah, adults have it too, but we hopefully find ways to cope. But that's why exceptional individuals exists, because there's always new things you can learn. Oh, nice. Becca as well, 3 in a row. Carinder, we've lost. Never mind. You might watch the YouTube recording. All right, and 1 sec. Okay, here we are. David Bailey, a known dyspraxic, is famous for what? Is he an author, a singer, sports personality, or a photographer? Nice. Well, I think he is also an author, so whoever did that, you are technically right, but he's mostly famous for his photography. And I tell you, trying to find a photo of him which didn't look like he was a professional photographer was quite challenging. He's a really great photographer, and he has done all the celebrities. He does a really nice one of the Queen, looking all smiley, which she's lost a lot of money now, hasn't she, due to coronavirus? Probably not so smiley. Nice, Lisa's coming up. From 1975, dyspraxia used to be called the now outdated term naughty child syndrome, mute child syndrome, clumsy child syndrome, wobbly child syndrome. Yes, clumsy child. It's outdated. I didn't like it, but it's good to know the past and how it kind of developed over time. For instance, if you look up dyslexia, it's about I think they all come from the Greek world, and it was like about speech, and it was about writing. Autism is again a Greek word, and I think it means alone. So, and dyspraxia was originally associated with clumsiness. However, I would personally prefer it to be called wobbly. I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't. Nice. Honestly, Jodie, you've really smashed it. Okay, 15. A dyspraxic athlete is eligible for the Special Olympics. Is this true or false? Interesting. It's false. Now, we used to be allowed in. They used to let us. And then they decided we weren't special enough. So they kicked us out. And in the rules, it's anything like a neurodiversity is not. I can't think of off the top of my head any regular Olympic athletes who are dyspraxic. But it's a bit of a challenging one, isn't it? Because it is a disability, but to what extent? Like, should someone with dyspraxia go against someone who is quadriplegic, someone with no arms or legs? Probably not fair. I think it's a very difficult thing to do, but I know I wouldn't be able to get into the Olympics. Now I can't even get into that. Okay, great, guys. Which is not a known symptom of dyspraxia? Is it rapid eye movement during sports, difficulty controlling breathing, problems with chewing food, or establishing the correct pencil grip? So not a known symptom. Nice, quite a broad range there. And I reckon for a lot of this one, you guys are like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. And it's kind of like, when you read on the back of like medication, like the known side effects, and you're like, oh dear, I could die. But it's like really rare. So all these things are related to dyspraxia, but not necessarily a particularly common one. So it's not related to eye movement, but people with dyspraxia can have difficulty controlling their breathing. And again, it's not so surprising when you think it's about how the brain kind of processes and like moves the muscles. So if you struggle with like speech and getting the words out, breathing under stressful circumstances can also affect it. The way I always describe dyspraxia is you have the information, but when too much of it goes down a little funnel, it can kind of get jammed. And imagine you've got a stressful situation happening. you've also got to remember to breathe. So that's like there's too many things happening in the brain at that once, thus challenges. Chewing food, very similar thing. It can be like the mouth isn't kind of doing in the right direction. Fun fact, people with dyspraxia can actually wear down their teeth more. So like, they're like more grinding because it just doesn't kind of like fit properly. And also pencil grip. It all kind of relates to the same thing. But this is why people can get misdiagnosed so easily, either with dyspraxia wrongly or without dyspraxia wrongly. Oh, nice. Well done, Lisa. See you awfully pleased there. I know. 17. Which one is not a common comorbid condition? So something which is multiple. Is it dyscalculia, sensory processing disorder, hypotonia, or I'll let you do it. So with a lot of neurodiversities, you're normally twice as likely to have another neurodiverse condition as if you weren't to have one at all. Dyscalculia, which can be difficulty with numbers, is often an add-on. Sensory processing disorder is also very likely go hand in hand. And another one could be low muscle tone. And whether that is due to maybe you struggle with sports, so you're less likely to exercise, thus having low muscle, or as it's inherently part of it, I don't actually know that answer. But it is kind of interesting how those two link up. But thankfully, if you have inflammation of the inner ear that causes dizziness and dyspraxia, that's just unlucky and a coincidence. Really well. Okay, 18, almost there. What month is Dyspraxia Awareness Week normally held? Is it January, March, October, or December? Nice, so it is October. So we're coming up at the moment, and whether it's held a week or a day, you know, I think it depends who you ask, but it's most of the neurodiverse conditions are around October. There are a few dotted around, but generally October's the month. But it can obviously vary depending on the year. Which Universal Music artist has publicly stated that they are dyspraxic? Is it Florence from Florence and the Machine, Taylor from Taylor and the Swifts, Lady Gaga, or Lana Del Rey? Nice. Yeah, it is Florence from Florence and the Machine. She speaks very openly about it. I wish Taylor Swift was. I love her. Lady Gaga, I think she's very quirky, but it's very much an act, as well as Lana Del Rey. But Florence is naturally dyspraxic. And fun fact, Exceptional Individuals has partnered with Universal Music. So if any of you are looking for jobs in that area, get in touch. They're actively looking for different-minded people. Very. Okay. The term DAMP, deficits in attention, motor control and perception, is sometimes used to describe people who have signs of dyspraxia and dyslexia, dyspraxia and ADHD, dyspraxia and autism, or dyspraxia and OCD. Nice. So, do you know what? When I was doing this quiz, I actually didn't know this answer. So it's interesting to see that a lot of you do. Now, the reason why they don't just say dyspraxia and ADHD is that neurodiversity, when you have an extra one, it kind of demonstrates in its own unique way. So when I say I'm dyslexic and dyspraxic, sometimes having the two things together kind of create like its own individual thing, and thus it has become a thing. All right, we are doing very well for time, guys. We've got the next question. The next one is the last one, so you whizzed through it. Now, let's see who's going to win. All right, guys, do it for pride. Oh, do you know what? It really could go either way. This is one of the closest I've ever seen. I'm sweating, unlike Prince Andrew. Jokes. All right, let's go. 21 or 21. Last question. Dyspraxia is covered under the UK Equality Act. True or false? It is true. So the Equality Act used to be loads of different acts. For like, we had the Disability Act, we had some race acts, all different acts. And it was getting a bit confusing, so they squished them together. And now employers are not allowed to discriminate against you for having dyspraxia. Whether they do or not, is a work in progress. But legally, you stand, aground that you are allowed support, and it is up to them to provide reasonable adjustments. All right, and now the results. In third place, Mayak. Well done, mate. Second place, Lisa. Ooh. And first place, Jody. Nice. Honestly, that was so close. Very, very amazing. And we got some lovely runners up. You guys all go home with pride today. Okay. Now, just to have a little look back, honestly, really well done. Awfully proud. Oh, 56% of questions were answered rightly. Ones that we got a bit stuck on was the Special Olympics. To be fair, I always get the Paralympics and Special Olympics a bit mixed up. I think one is more for learning disabilities and one is for like physical disabilities. And which one is not a symptom of dyspraxia? And to be honest, that kind of makes sense because those symptoms aren't the most common ones, but they are definitely related. All right, let's go back to the screen. So guys, that was all of it. Just a quick bit of fun in the day. I hope you enjoyed. And next week, we've got the Am I Autistic one. And why that is a really good webinar to attend is that it's interactive and we go over the characteristics. So you're not leaving with a certificate that says you're autistic. You're leaving with a good understanding about when people are doing the assessments, what makes up the assessment. And do check them out. We have events going all the way to the rest of the year. All right, guys. Well, have a lovely day.
Thank you.